I have successfully achieved 1 year as a free-to-play player in Marvel Contest of Champions. And I'm going to be going over in this video the trials, tribulations, good, bad and ugly when it comes to this particular shift, and also answer a few questions which will be time codes for, which you can check out, either be the link in the description or it's going to be on those little tabs you can click on. Over the years, spending in Marvel Contest of Champions has been a bit of a, I'd say, constant depreciation. The same way as I've said before, you take a car off of a lot, a car garage, whatever, you buy it for a certain amount, it immediately devalues if you buy it. The same thing when it comes to Marvel Contest of Champions, where back in 2016, myself, Seaton, so many others, and here's a good example right here, literally were spending money, like a lot of money, to get 4-star champions. So that's the way the game has really changed, and that's been a problem because then I've put money into this game at a very kind of low level, early level to the game, and felt that, well, over the years things depreciate. The same way you can look at 6 stars are currently depreciating, 5 stars are now at that point they're going to be like 4 stars, and it domino effect kind of happens. The same thing will happen with relics as we get 6-star relics into the game. You might be thinking, well, what's that to do with spending? Why is that a reason for free to play, and why did you kind of like do that? And it's all relevant to the next particular stage of what we're going to talk about. So yes, the why. Why did I decide to go free to play? Well, I kind of felt like it was a challenge. Like, I've done so many things in Marvel Contest of Champions. I've been playing now for nearly 8 years, and I've never once been non-spending Marvel Contest of Champions, either chasing like new metas, relics, you know, 7 stars, 6 stars, rank 5 materials, you name it. There's always going to be a new thing that comes in you got to chase. But I've never kind of approached it from going from a non-spending. And I kind of felt like after 7 years of playing the game that, well, I need a new challenge. I need something new, different, or allows me to kind of think differently, which I think is really important because a large quantity of the player base are non-spending in Marvel Contest of Champions. So it kind of seemed like a no-brainer for it. The second thing is that I was unhappy with the way that Kabam value certain deals, and also the way that they've done a lot of customer support in the past. It just didn't feel like Kabam were listening and as well kind of understanding what they're meant to do. When you spend in a game, you do need to have a level of service, and whether or not it's a level of service from buying a deal is also a level of service from a performance standpoint, and I just don't think Kabam have really been there. They definitely weren't there in where we left 2021 and into 2022. And I am non-spending in Marvel Contest of Champions from later December 2021, and this is my full year of non-spending in the game. And the game has improved in certain areas. I wouldn't say it is back to the standards it was, but definitely I've seen a lot of improvement over the course of 2022, which is really good news. But also I hope that Kabam can really capitalize and improve things when it comes to 2023. Inputs in game, look at a better standard as to the divide between those that are non-spending and spending, and just find like a nice fair medium that is not completely exploiting people and the money they spend. But in any case, speaking of money they spend, savings. Now, when it came from 2020 to 2021 endpoint, I have saved like money. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't spending much in game. In any case, I was buying my monthly sigil. I was also buying the collector's daily card, the units one. And that's not really much. I mean, now that's been valued down to what? That's £13 a month. So yeah, I mean, it does add up. But then I was buying some special deals. So I probably was spending in the region of about £500. And look, that's not a huge amount compared with some of the money I'm hearing that people are spending this year in the banquet event. But I thought it was good to like share like, well, how much have I saved this year? And yeah, maybe I would have bought deals. Maybe I go, oh, well, I'll do some tax deductible on stuff that's investing into, oh, I've done this opening and or bought this thing in game. But I just don't think that's kind of where I'm at the moment from an interest perspective. Now, what has it led to? You know, being non-spending, saving money, just generally changing things for the new challenge. What's changed? Like, what's happened? Well, I would say that I now enjoy the game a lot more. It's a very weird thing to say, like, okay, well, did I not enjoy it when I was spending money? At the end of the day, you spend money to chase something, and that's what I'm doing. I was chasing to reinvest. It's the same thing like going, well, I probably took the £500. Actually, no, I have. I've taken £500 and invested it in stocks and shares. And funnily enough, the money that I've invested in those stocks and shares have started gaining, like they started gaining money. And the same thing when it comes to MCOC. Like, if you invest you're like, now I'm investing my time, I want to get something back from it. Yes, there is the caveat of like, okay, well, more time invested means that there's more time lost. But we'll get to that. That's a segment to talk about. But I am finding more enjoyment because I'm figuring out ways to deal with challenges, whether it's champion choices and other things, and whether or not it's ranking up champions for certain elements of like, okay, defense orientated and stuff like that. But also looking to kind of like just find a new bit of fun without having to resort going, okay, well, I need units to pass this particular segment, or it's a case of like, I need units to buy this particular thing, or it's you know, it's whatever. Like, yes, okay, you need units to kind of like get stuff in Game of Cyber Weekendos, but I'm not going to spend the money on it. So my difference is that I'm working towards something. And yes, you can say, oh, I'm working towards something to get money to put into the game. But I feel like I've actually worked hard to achieve something. I've farmed something. I've grinded something. I've played well in something. And that's kind of like element and narrative that this particular change is important for. It's little kind of like wins and W's that I've had from doing things like going, okay, well, let's go and do solo event and focus on my solo event. Granted, I haven't done my event quest completion, but that's because I'm busy recording content. But most times, apart from event quest completion, I'm smashing all the other things, getting revives, health potions, the little units you get from them. And that's been like a great thing to grab. And there's other areas as well, from doing normal, heroic, and master on auto fighting. And now that my champions are rank 4, a lot of the time, most times they are auto fighting through uncollected, which is great. Again, unit grabbing is very important. That's 600 units a month just by doing that. So those are things like I've kind of thought to myself, well, why wasn't I doing this before? Because that's a very easy auto fighting type thing, and level up's very easy, and other stuff's very easy as well. So yeah, I kind of feel like it's a new challenge, but at the same time, I can do that, this auto fighting, and get through stuff. Speaking of farming units, that's one of the big things as well. Like, I'm preaching to a lot of the extensive grinding choir when it comes to grinding and farming units. I don't farm not nearly as much as units as like other players. Other players are able to farm like a lot more, but maybe they have a lot more time than me with stuff when it comes to the game. And that, you know, that's just is what it is. I have another job. I try and work in stuff where I can. And even though my device is on at the moment, which you can see right, it's like right down here, like, and it is on. It might seem I invest a lot of time. I don't. It's there while I'm recording videos. If this raw video takes about, I don't know, an hour, then I'm editing it down, it's still there and on if I have to go back to stuff. But in any case, to the point. And the point is, I haven't really calculated it completely, but I want to say it's around 50,000 units were farmed from my account this year. 21,000 was invested into the Cyber Weekend 2022. I then had 10,000 unit offer, so that brings that up to about 31,000. 12,000 from this particular event that I'm doing at the moment, and there'll probably be a bit more from other areas, but it will likely come to 50,000 units. You can get a lot more. As I've said before, and I've done plenty of videos on, it is possible to get upwards of 92,000, nearly 100,000 units a year, if you are willing to grind. For me, I did a little bit of arena. On a weekly basis, I do a little bit of non-arena grind, and you can get a good chunk. Probably could have done more, but it doesn't matter. More time invested into it is less time for me personally, and I need some personal time as well. But yeah, that's been one like really positive thing about this year. Is doing that. Yes, it takes time. We'll cover that in a minute. Battlegrounds and keeping up with current meta. So these go hand in hand, because I was going to do something about keeping up to date with meta, but Battlegrounds is kind of a meta at the moment. Do I feel like I'm keeping up with metas? Sort of. I do feel that I'm kind of like behind a little bit, especially with getting champions ranked up. I definitely found this going into Battlegrounds, and that's why it's a key moment and a key feature. So I did feel that when Battlegrounds started, the first season and the second season, my champions were in the wrong places. I was not ranking up a lot of champions that would be effective defensive options. This is something which I talked about back then, was a 2-month process. Being a non-spending player, you have to really focus on important rank ups, and sadly, your focus is all about your Battlegrounds deck. You are creating a deck that's incredibly powerful to then put in a good stead for defense. But for me personally, I was not creating those particular champions. Your Saurons, your Toads, your Bishops, your Nimrods. The list goes on with champions I was not ranking up in the first season of Battlegrounds, and a lot of them were very offensive orientated. A lot of the defense options kind of like, yeah, they were in things like Alliance Wars. But then that's all about, as I've said, like it's a process. You can't go as a non-spending player, I can get the champions just like that. I can get the materials just like that. It takes time. The Glory Store had not been buffed in that time. The Loyalty Store was not buffed in that time. The Battlegrounds Store was there, but I'd need to do Battlegrounds, get successful in it in order to get stuff back. It's, again, a no-brainer with the situation and a domino effect. So keeping up with current metas is at the time very difficult, but it's got better because I've said that process. We rank up certain champions, we get and acquire certain champions. Featured 6-star crystals, Gallon, Quicksilver, great defensive options. Getting my Nimrod up to rank 3, maybe a rank 4. Getting Kitty Pryde, another great kind of addition to the roster and the team. Gore adding into the team as well. Hulkling recently being picked up. Penny Parker, actually no, I had that before, but you get the idea, you get the point. Adding more of those more substantial defensive rank ups, or orientated champions for rank up, and also offensive as well. I'm not just saying that, but kind of like these new champions improving stuff. This is where saving those 6-star shards is vital for things like 6-star featured, because, and here's the thing, I'm not buying any of those new pre-release bundles. I'm not doing new calves, I'm not doing those particular things, so my focus is collecting 6-star shards for that, and that's been the best kind of like way to kind of look at that and kind of focus more for future rather than going, look, I can't do anything now, but I can do something in 2 months time, which is, again, it's fun, but it's a new challenge, and it's fun. It's a fun new challenge. But one final point on the Battlegrounds particular situation is that I do find that I am going up against Wales, Paragon Wales, which have more extensive rosters, 200 signature. I mean, maybe that's wrong assuming, because it could be a case they are non-spending and have been playing Battlegrounds very successfully for a good chunk of time, therefore have been able to rank up and signature up champions and been substantially better alliances for Alliance Wars and Alliance Quest. I don't know, I want to assume that, but then there's a lot of things that come with that when it comes to relics, and that's the final point to kind of like mention about this. I'm still undecided on relics. I'm still like at the point of getting this video kind of like out, I am working on testing champions out with relics. There's some changes in here that there's changes I need to make with these, by the way. Some of them are actually really wrong. But that's the thing about me experimenting personally about what works, what doesn't, what's able to pop up, again, what is not. But yeah, like relics is still something I'm a bit kind of like on the fence about, and especially from an acquisition point of view as to, you know, what it does to Battlegrounds, which in some cases there's some really stinky stuff, like Kabam allowing things like Weapon X with a certain relic. Man, it does kind of like sour taste in the mouth with that. So I think that stuff really needs to be done with it, but I don't think Kabam will. Now I want to quickly talk about time loss. It's something that I did talk about briefly, and as well, unfortunately, I don't get the correct data when it comes to this stuff here. So minutes played, 110,000. I have not played 110,000 hours. I really wish I could have done, because I would have got a lot more. But from what I'm doing, is which you can see right now, as I've said, like the device is there, and if the device is there, and this video is recorded raw for an hour, and I edit it down to a 15-minute video or less, then I'm not technically playing, am I? Yes, I am, because the screen's on the game, but I'm not actually playing. So I kind of get like time to do my AQ, AW, and I may do like an hour to 2 hours on arena grinding when I'm in the mood to. Like, I don't do it all the time, but it is important for me to kind of keep up to date. I've done my Act 8.1. I'll be trying to kind of keep up to date with Act 8.2 when it's released. You know, I'm doing my best to keep up, right? I'm also Paragon, non-spending Paragon, which is great. You know, I'm working as hard as I possibly can to keep up to date. But there is a time loss. Like, I do work for another company. I work for, so I do, like, I don't know, on average about 16 hour, I work about 15 to 16 hours a day. Well, you can say that, like, I enjoy what I do, so I don't technically refer to it as work when it comes to this stuff, but I do have another job. I work for Final Strike Games, and I'll talk more about that when we're allowed to talk about the game, but we're not allowed to talk about the game. Yeah, like, I've got to split my time very, very importantly. So it's all about finding a good balance, and also finding the time to play MCOC, play the quests that I need to, and also be able to get units for free, which I want to do. So yeah, like, you just got to have a good balance. I do feel there's been a lot of time lost, and I will have to address in 2023 how much time I'm spending playing MCOC from like, or kind of like making content on. So I have to kind of like see that about that in New Year, and kind of feel like how I am with being non-spending and stuff like that. Next up, would I recommend it? Would I recommend going non-spending in MCOC? I would say that if you wanted a new challenge. For me, as I said, like I would assume like I'm a veteran of the game. I've been an MCOC YouTuber since 2015, I think it is. 2015, 2016. This channel was actually a World of Warships and World of Tanks channel. So that was what this channel was. If people think, oh, MCC YouTuber, but never started off as an MCC YouTuber. It was just people were interested in that more in the channel. So I did that. Otherwise, I would have had a collective channel or a variety channel. But in any case, like, yeah, would I recommend it? Yes, but only if you've played the game. If you've played the game for a long time, and you're like, do you know what? I need a new challenge. I like this new challenge, so I'm doing it. If you want to play other games and spend, then that's fine. But that's keeping up the, you may be able to keep up the current meta a bit better. Don't know. It just seems that's the way nowadays. Especially if you want to be in the top alliances and things, get like top champions for prestige and whatnot and relics and stuff like that. But here's the thing: you could be, if you're a minnow with a game, when it comes to like, you don't have to be a whale. You could be a minnow. Like a lot of people just spend in MCOC just over like a little bit each month, which I used to do. I would consider myself a minnow because I would buy like a small amount of items. But again, it's up to personal preference there. The game does need money, sadly, to continue on. Netmarble will start cutting people, cutting staff from the Kabam staff. They did that last year. Would they do that in foreseeable years? Of course they would. That's sadly the cutthroat element of business. But, the more money the game makes, the more and longer it will run. But them's is the breaks. What have I learned? I don't really feel there's been too much of a problem from me going non-spending and still trying to keep up with current meta. But there are exceptions. I'm not going to give like a hard pass to this and go like, oh, it's been great. No, because there will always be elements of things that you're constantly chasing within game. Whether or not you're trying to reinvest your units into things like these relic crystals, which at the moment are 3 and 4 star, and you got a small chance of getting a 5 star, right? That's ass. Like, it's really ass at this time. It's the same situation that we had back a long time ago. And I suspect that when we go get the next progression, there will be a new relic crystal that will be added to this. And it's the same thing. If you're not chasing a champion from the Cavalier crystals, you're trying to chase a relic from the relic crystals. Kabam have got to drop a lot more relics in there as well, so you're at some stage going to be chasing for hundreds and hundreds of relics. There's 230 plus champions in game, so you end up trying to like get like a certain type of relic, and there's always going to be ones added into there, different rarity. If there's 6-star relics in game, there'll be some 0.7-star relics in game. It's a constant chase, and there'll be a constant divide between those that are able to spend and not. I recently added in 298 relic prestige into my my particular account, and I suspect if I go searching for people like top end of the game, proper whales of the game, they will be in a lot higher than 298, I can tell you that much, which does cause an issue, because then what it does, it inflates the prestige elements of it and allows people to go super spendy in order to get them, creating a further divide between free to play and those that spend within the game. I mean, look, it's just history repeating itself. This has happened before and it will keep happening again, so you either go with the rough or the smooth. Okay. Positive-wise, this year, Kabam have added in things that I've personally kind of really loved. They've improved things when it comes to the Glory Store quite recently, which again, I appreciate. I love that. They've allowed as well the Loyalty Store to expand a little bit, and also the volume of loyalty you get back as a result, which can leave you to invest things in certain ways. Like I've got 1.3 mil. I honestly, like, every time I do an Alliance War, I'm enjoying doing it for the rewards I get back, which is great, because they had a real problem with how they were doing certain elements of the store recently. It's not perfect because there's still some like issues with it, with stuff and value, but look, it is what it is. I'll take the rubbish with it. Incursions wise, that's been improved, and when you get rank 4 6-star champions and as well 7 stars in the future, it does make it a little bit more doable, and they probably won't kind of buff things for a long time. So going with 7 stars, smash the content, rank 5 champions, rank 5 6-star champions, and you better do a lot more. So there's kind of like, there's good, there's bad with this this particular scenario. And as I said, I haven't had a huge amount of problems, except for, certain things like the banquet event. When am I investing? How am I investing? As I said, it would be better to invest into Cyber Weekend and July 4th than it would be to something like the banquet event. However, though, get involved with the milestones, and after that, make a decision whether or not you want to invest in any more. For me personally, I've always said I'm going to do 12,000 units, which I farmed for free, and I'm enjoying the fun, because believe it or not, I do have fun in Marvel contests, and I believe that other people do as well. Some people really take this game super seriously, but I like to have a bit of fun. And the Banquet Crystals, the Greater Banquet Crystals, are fun, believe it or not. The final thing I want to end on is saying that I am going to continue through 2023 and probably until the game dies to be a non-spending player in Marvel Contest of Champions. Mainly because I've enjoyed myself. I've enjoyed finding solutions to problems this year. Yes, I'm not in the top alliance. Yes, I'll have the problem with not having champions up to the highest prestige. I'm still working hard on that, and Battlegrounds has helped out, and that Battlegrounds store is banging, by the way, because you get yourself the materials that you need to kind of get up. And not to say that I'll be able to get into a top alliance. That's not going to be the case, but and my alliance is great, by the way. There's a lot of kind of free choice, and that's the thing. We talk about free choice today. There's a lot of free choices to who you rank up, and that's great. But at the same time, people are ranking up Battlegrounds defense options, their decks. So it's really good to kind of see that still those tricky champions, not prestige element champions, but champions that players want to rank up are making those particular decisions. It's just the other stuff that we've talked about. Rank 5, 6-star materials and relics and embers and alloys and 7-star shards, and how that's kind of imbalanced the divide again, which Brian Grant was talking about a long time ago, where you kind of felt too pressured into decision making when it comes to rank up of champions, and it takes away the fun element of the game. So find that fun, and that's what I feel that I have done and achieved through this year. And I will retrospectively be doing kind of videos like this every year to go look, I've gone this amount of time being non-spending. Here's what I found this year. And it's good. So it's good to kind of make that decision, and also kind of approach content and the way I make videos as to okay, well, what am I, a non-spending player, able to achieve in for this, versus things like Summer Canteen and other stuff like that. But yeah, I hope this video helps out people and also understand the process of what it's been for the first year. I'm not saying oh, well, was me not spending. But I think it's interesting to look at the process, look at, what I've achieved, what I look to achieve in the new year, and more rank ups. I would say I've got to rank up a lot more, 6 stars to rank 4. What I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8, I think something like that. But I've got to do a lot more. I'm a bit behind with that. I've got rank up materials, and I do need to get them done. So yeah, that's that kind of thing right there with it. Work's got to be done. We look forward to 2023. Thanks for watching this video. Check out some other content right here. And have you set yourself a challenge for 2023? Put it in the comment section, and I'll see you very soon. Much love. Goodbye.